Hey guys, so this is theme day 2. And first of all, we're going to kind of review what theme is. And this should be kind of at the top of the sheet you're going to get today. This theme is the underlying meaning of a piece of literature, a story, or a novel, a poem. Or it can also be, and it is the lesson or the moral of the story. It may be stated directly. It may say that this is a theme. Most likely, you're going to have to infer. I think that yesterday when we did Peter's chair, you inferred some different themes from a long list of themes that you had. So today, I'm going to start off with a different story, and the name of the story is Galamoto. As you listen to Galamoto, I want you to be thinking about maybe some of the themes that you might come up with because you're going to need them later in our little exercise. And that's Peter's chair. That is now Galamoto. How about Galamoto? So I love this book so much. All right. I'm going to try to get where you can see a little bit better. Okay, where I can also see. Condi opened an old shoebox and looked inside. These were his things. They belonged to him. Inside the box, there was a ball made out of many old plastic bags, tightly wrapped with string. There was a knife Condi had made from a piece of tin can and a dancing man he had made from dried cornstalks. In Condi's box, there were also some scraps of wire. He had been saving the wires for something special. Now he took them and the knife from his box. I shall make a Galamoto, Condi said. He told his brother, Ufali. Ufali laughed. A boy with only 7 years cannot make such a toy. You don't have enough wire. I can get more wire, Condi said. Condi took his knife and wire scraps and went to the home of his friend Gift. I want your wires, Condi told Gift. I will give you my knife for them. Why do you want the wires? Gift asked. I want to make a Galamoto, Condi answered. Gift ran his fingers over the tin knife. It is a good knife. Sorry, it's hard to read and do this at the same time. It is a good knife. I'll cut a dancing man with it. Gift took a handful of wires from his box of things and gave them to Condi. That's not enough wire for a Galamoto, he told his friend. I will find enough wire, Condi said. Condi put his wires into an old plastic bag and took them to the shop of his uncle. Good day, second son of my brother, his uncle greeted him. How can I help you? I want some wire, Condi told his uncle. How will you pay for it? I have no money, Condi answered. But you have wires on your old packing boxes from the city. They would make a fine Galamoto. So you want to make a Galamoto? The son of my brother is a clever boy. Take the wires, he said. Cheech. Condi could hear the grinder of the flour mill. Many women with babies tied on their backs waited in the hot sun. Others arrived carrying their heavy baskets with maize on their heads. Condi squeezed through the crowd. He was very near the front door when someone grabbed him. The women began yelling angrily, Stop that one! He goes out of turn! Condi was being pushed and shoved. Suddenly, the mill stopped its grinding. What is it? The miller shouted. The women pointed at Condi. Oh, no, Condi said. I have no maize to grind. I only want wires for a Galamoto. He opened his bag for them to see. Sorry, this is really hard to read like this. Playthings. For this you keep us waiting, the woman grumbled angrily. One cannot eat wires. An old toothless woman shook her hand at Condi. The miller shrugged. There are some wires out back. Take those and go. In the back of the mill, there was an open door. Inside the door was an old pile of old motor parts. There, Condi found some very thin wires wrapped in red and yellow and green plastic. I can scrape the coating off, Condi thought. These wires will hold my Galamoto together. Still, he did not have enough wires for a Galamoto. Condi passed some young children playing on an anthill. One was Moonday, the small sister of his friend Gift. She had a fine, long piece of wire, which she stuck into the hard dirt. Little friend, Condi called as he came near, you cannot catch an ant that way. Go fetch some water, for with that and a stick we will fool them. When Monday came back, Condi poured the water around one of the holes. Now they will think the rains have begun, he explained. Then he stuck a stick down the hole. Gently he pulled it out, and on the end was a large ant. My stick is better than a wire for catching ants. You may keep the stick, and I'll keep the wire. Anybody wondering yet what a Galamoto is? Condi knew there was a trash heap behind the bicycle repair shop, but the gate was locked. Condi climbed over the fence. In the courtyard, he found some broken, bent spokes from a bicycle. He climbed back over the fence with his bag. Thief! Help! Police! Thief! Condi heard a voice call. Children came running from the marketplace. Men came running from the shops. They made a circle around Condi. Thief! Thief! They chanted, pointing at Condi. A policeman arrived, and he grabbed Condi by the shoulder. What are you doing? He asked. Condi showed the policeman his wires. I want a Galamoto, he explained, and I need these wires. Galamoto, the cloud muttered. Galamoto. They shook their heads and went back to their business. Take your wires and go, the policeman told Condi. Condi took the wires back to the shade of the red flame trees in the village. Nearby, his mother and sisters pounded their maize. That's corn. They sang of the hard work they were doing. Condi sorted his wires. There were thick pieces and thin pieces. Some wires were long and some were short. Condi banged the bent and twisted ones with a stone to straighten them. Then he began. The thick wires made the frame. He wrapped the very thinnest wires at the joints to hold the Galamoto together. My Galamoto will be a pickup, Condi planned. It will carry maize to the city, and it will have an antenna for the radio. He smiled. Condi worked all afternoon. He pounded the strongest wires around a pipe to make the round wheels. A sturdy piece of bamboo made the rod for the steering wheel. You can see him working there. Finally, the warm, toasty smell of maize porridge cooking over the village fires told Condi it was time to go home. His brothers and sisters admired his work. So, you found enough wire, Eufaula said. Yes, Condi agreed. He parked his Galamoto next to the box of his things and ate his supper. Let the moon be bright for us to play and sing tonight. Condi could hear his friends singing in the distance. They were calling him to come play. Almost there. Now he carefully grabbed his Galamoto over the dusty path, guided his Galamoto over the dusty path. Galamoto! Someone cheered, and one by one, Condi's friends formed a line behind him. He's a Galamoto, Galamoto, they began to chant. Can you see what it is? Yeah, it's like a little push toy that he's made. Condi saw the shadow of his Galamoto cast by the moonlight racing alongside. It is a fine Galamoto, he thought proudly. Perhaps tomorrow I shall make my Galamoto into an ambulance, or an airplane, or a helicopter. He's going to change it later. And then it kind of ends here. You can see him dreaming of all the ways that he can make his Galamoto. All right, so today, for theme, you have the same list as you had yesterday. Today, I'm just going to pick one theme. for Gallimard. Well, actually, I'm going to go back to Peter's Chair. Sorry. So remember we read Peter's Chair yesterday, and some of the ones that we picked were like birth, acceptance, change, family. Okay, so I'm going to pick something a little bit different. One of the ones that maybe that you had chose yesterday is I'm going to pick growing up. So on my paper, I'm going to choose the theme of growing up. Can everybody see that? Okay. And now today, I'm going to write why the theme of growing up is important in Peter's Chair. Okay. So I'm going to start off, and I am going to use complete sentences today. In the book, Peter's Chair, I think I'm going to probably have to underline that. And I know you guys can't see as I'm writing. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to try to get that going better. I'm just going to put my growing up kind of in parentheses there. Okay. So in the book, Peter's Chair, the theme of growing up is important. See all that? In the book, Peter's Chair, the theme of growing up is important because. And that's where we're going to think about why is that theme important. Just stop and think for just a minute. So Peter realizes by the end that he's growing up, right? It would be very hard, really, to even have our story if Peter did not, if we didn't have that theme of growing up, because that's what the whole story, that's, now, remember, we're not doing the main idea or topic, but that is what our story is largely about. Sorry, I'm pulling this over here to the side because I kind of want to just kind of see how this goes. Okay, so, got kind of distracted. So, in this one, I'm going to put that the theme of growing up is important because without that theme, we wouldn't have even had a story, would we? So I'm going to try to think of a good way to word that. Because I think I'm just going to put because Peter grows up in the story because Peter realizes, that's a better word, realizes he, and I'm going to write out that contraction. I'm going to put realizes he is instead of realizing he's. Realizing he is growing up. And he realizes it is okay. And he realizes that is okay. He realizes it's okay to grow up. Okay. And then I'm also going to put like the story is about Peter trying to think of a good way to word this so it doesn't sound crazy. The story is about Peter growing. I don't know. I keep writing that word. Let's just being okay with getting bigger. He realizes that chair doesn't fit. Now, if you want to use my example, you may use my example. I would prefer that you write all this in your words, not mine, because I know you're not going to be quoting me. So you needed to write that in your words. But you could also pick a different theme, like family, or siblings, or acceptance, or so many other themes in the story that you can choose from that you can write and tell how, why that theme is important. That's this whole lesson is why theme is important, okay, to a story and how, what we know about theme. So your next one is Gallimard. And in this example, you are going to choose your own, okay? So you're going to go back to that list that we had yesterday that hopefully Miss Christie still has close by. Yep, there it is. This list right here. And you're going to choose a theme for Gallimard off this list. There's a ton of them. There's not one right answer. How many right answers are there? A whole bunch. More than one. Okay, so go ahead and choose a theme. And then you're going to go back here and you're going to kind of do just like I did and put it in parentheses. And then you are going to explain why that theme is important in the book Yamamoto. So if you need to go back and re-listen to the story, totally fine. If you need to do this for homework tonight or take a little bit of time with it, totally fine. I want you to do your very best work, okay? Have a good one.